In this short video, we are going to taste 3 different single cultivar teas, and then we are going to walk you through the different flavor profiles of each one. Next, we are going to take a short trip to Japan to see the field where these teas are from. When we met with the farmer, Mr. Henta, we were able to learn so much about different varieties of tea plants. We wanted to make sure we could clearly show the differences in taste between each cultivar to everyone, so we decided to bring back 3 single cultivar green teas. Let's take a look at each one of them.
Hey everybody, it's Will from Neo. I'm here with Oliver in Zurich right now. We just did a short tea tasting with a few people that are kind of new to tea, and I think they really loved the Katagane, so I think that's definitely a good beginner tea, something that everybody loves the first time they have it. But what we wanted to do was a comparison of the 3 single cultivar Senchas that we have new on the store, and see if they could discern the differences. Because the Asanoka has a very strong, distinct cereal note to it. The Okumidori is kind of like a smooth, creamy, almost fruity tea. And then we have the Saimidori, which is a very umami, very sweet sencha that I personally like the most. But for beginners, maybe it's not the best tea because it's just so powerful. So we would probably recommend the Okumidori for a beginner because it's more of a milder tea, and the Gyokuro Katagane from Sakamoto.
And if you are looking a little bit more for kind of a cereally or nearly a little bit of earthy tone in a sencha, I would say the Asanoka is a very good candidate as well. Personally, what I like about this one here, that it adds a little bit more of a complexity and taste to it. So if you're looking for something which is not only sweet but also has a little bit of an earthy touch to it, the Asanoka is definitely a good choice. Good, so let's go. You explain the tastes?
Yeah, a little bit. But we could go through. We're at the 3rd steeping now, so it's lost a little bit of its juice, but you can still really get an idea for the flavor here. Yeah, Okumidori, very smooth, very mild. Definitely a good tea for a beginner that's not used to these powerful flavors that you get with a Japanese green tea. Asanoka is a little bit drier. If you like kind of like drier senchas, like the Hagiricha Mafuji, you might like this one. And then the Saimidori is very strong, very umami, very sweet, similar to a Gyokuro. So if you like Gyokuros, I think you'll definitely like the Saimidori the most.
This one here?
Yeah, this is my favorite. Oh yeah, still got a lot of flavor in the 3rd steeping.
I like this earthy tone of the Asanoka. I'm fighting for Asanoka. Nobody knows, but Asanoka is good.
We'll have to see which one does the best. After a few months, we'll see which one people like the most.
Yeah, I think if you're a beginner, Okumidori is the best. So some of you might know our matcha washimine is also coming from our Okumidori cultivar. This is actually the one we sell the most. And the Okumidori seems to be kind of, due to its creamy sweet tone but not too hard or harsh flavor, into this umami kind of type of tea flavor. That's why I think the Okumidori is really liked in general, especially when you're starting into green tea.
But yeah, when we visited the farmer, Mr. Henta, last April, we really got to take a tour of all the different types of cultivars, because even though it's a small farm, he had, I think, at least 8 different types of tea plants growing there. So that was a great learning experience for us, and we kind of wanted to bring that back for everybody, so that you could kind of experience that these different single cultivar teas, just by changing the variety of the tea plant, you can produce totally different flavors. So we have the Henta Sencha, which is a combination of 8 different cultivars. But
Exactly, yeah.
if you like that one, we also have the individual single cultivar teas that are, Asanoka, Okumidori, Saimidori. So if you want to do a little tasting for yourself and kind of like sharpen your palate, you can try all 3 and see if you can distinguish the different flavors.
And see for yourself which
Yeah.
one you like the most. Good, and you have been on the trip here in Europe.
Yeah.
So he's here now in Europe with his brother, which is standing next to us. Yeah, he's waving. And now we're having a short tea tasting before you hop. And
Yeah.
go back.
Ship back to the U.S.
Yeah.
Cut some more tea videos when I get back.
Yeah. Play some magic.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. So, this was this. I think if you want to try these 3 teas, feel free to just get the sample, sharpen your palate yourself, see maybe even if you want to add the Henta Sencha as well, just to compare these 4 teas, so the single cultivars and the Henta, which is a blend, and then you can see which tea is a little bit most your type or your kind of tea, your cup of tea, and we will keep doing what we're doing. Thanks a lot and have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
guys. Bye.
Now that we've done a tasting of the teas, let's learn a bit more about where they come from. The farm of Mr. Henta was one of the first tea fields we visited during our most recent trip to Japan last April. This field is located in the Kirishima region to the north of Kagoshima. In this region, the forests and mountains create a great environment for growing green tea. On organic fields like this, we notice there is a ton of life. Insects, birds, and other plant species can be seen thriving on this field of tea. What made the field of Mr. Henta unique was the amount of cultivars he grew. Although his field was still relatively small, he grew a huge variety of tea plants on the land. This gave us an excellent opportunity to learn more about the differences between tea cultivars.
So now we have here we have a typical comparison of 2 cultivars. So this one is the Zairai, the original or the cultivar of origin, which has been brought from China in here, and this is the Yuta Kamidori. Same tea plant, very similar, but you can see the difference in shape of the leaf. So this one here growing rather broad, the Yuta Kamidori used for Sencha Fukamushi, and this one here mainly used later for matcha or culinary matcha. And you really can see that the shape is different of these 2 plants. And what you can see of the Zairai is that the buds, they are not very close together, so there's not a strong number of buds, but what is this particularity of the Zairai is that the buds are growing pretty long and pretty high, so you get still a lot of tea which is growing from these plants. Even here you have in this sector around 50 buds, comparing to other cultivars where you can have up to 100 or even 110 buds in the same area. What you can see here is that actually the sprouts, or there are much more sprouts than, for example, with the Zairai, which we saw before. Here we talk about 100 buds in this area, making a lot of tea, but they are not growing very high. So when this tea is harvested, it grows up more or less to this height, so around this height, but they are very similar, growing at the same pace. So that's why this tea or this cultivar is used for Sencha. And specifically it is used for Fukamushi Sencha, as the Yuta Kamidori shows a little bit more astringency in the taste, but the Fukamushi, so the deep steamed way of producing this Sencha, brings down the stringency and more out, or more shows more of the sweetness of the Sencha in the end. The Samidori cultivar is a very fine and sweet cultivar, and it is used for the Sencha, so the very first harvest, sweetest and most fine Sencha, which is really coming into the market, and there's a big buzz always in spring around this tea, as it has a lot of sweetness and a lot of fineness. And you can see we are around 2 weeks before the harvest, and the sprouts are now coming up, and if they will grow up more or less to this height, and then they will be cut and used for Sencha. So he will keep 70% of his Sencha and 30% he will send to Shizuoka, where other producers also use his Sencha for the season. So this is a leaf of the cultivar Sakimidori, and this cultivar is used for matcha. And what is particular about this one here is its dark green color. And this matcha or tencha finally is used in Kyoto for high-grade matchas blended together with more sweeter cultivars, because this cultivar is a little bit astringent, has not a very sweet and not a very strong umami taste, but blended together with other cultivars, it can become a very sweet and delicious matcha, showing a very nice green. And this cultivar is known for its very beautiful dark green color. So we have here a bunch of a tea leaf plant, and what you can see is that actually it's a mix of the old plant where you have the dark leaves. So this is, for example, bancha can be made out of this, and you have like the young sprouts coming out, and this is going to be then in a later stage, in around 2 weeks, it's going to be the harvest of the Sencha. So you have the top leaf, which is called the shin. Then you have the first leaf, which is actually called the ichiome. Then the second leaf is the niome, and then the third leaf is the sanome. So you got the first top leaf, which is not called the first leaf, but it's like the high class leaf, and then you start from the second leaf on counting for the other ones. So here we have the upper part of the tea plants, which is actually used to produce different kinds of tea tastes. So when we start with the big one, and this is also preferred by Mr. Henta, who produces his tea mainly with the bigger part of the plant. What it does is that actually this part has more particles, more taste particles also in the plant, meaning that the tea gets a little bit stronger and it gets a little bit more complex and showing also more umami. And the more you go to the upper leaves, the lighter as well, and the finer the tea gets. But he personally prefers this one, as there you have really the most amount of nourishment also, in terms of taste, in terms of minerals in the tea. But the more you go up and you go into the finer parts, the lighter and also a little bit fresher the tea gets. So this we will find out later in the tasting.
半分はヤブキタですね。
半分
50%は
は、
ヤブキタが入ってます。
そう、50% is ヤブキタ。
残りの50が半々が 25% がサイと奥緑。
じゃあ、
50
サイ緑、ヤブキタと
が50。
ヤブキタ50。そう、ヤブキタ is 50%、サイ緑は25。
奥が25。
と奥緑、OK。So 50% Yabukita, the remaining is 25% Saimidori, 25% Okumidori.
Mix of Yabukita, Okumidori and Samidori. 50% Yabukita, 25% Samidori and 25% Okumidori. And it is very sweet and very light in taste, so very beautiful. Yeah, very beautiful aroma. I have to say, it's a very good blend.